Well, I usually open up the show with a happy whatever the hell day it is. In this case, it would have been a happy Friday, but being that Thursday was pretty fucked up, um, we're gonna forego that. Obviously, if you see the thumbnail in the foreground, the largest image on there is Wyndham Rotunda, otherwise known to most people as Bray Wyatt, has passed away at the age of 36 due to heart complications that he was dealing with earlier, but were complicated and exacerbated by a bout of COVID, a recent bout of COVID. That information has been released to the public and verified by the families themselves because they wanted it clarified that there was no foul play, overdose, or anything like that. Bray Wyatt was 36. For the second night in a row, I open up the show in memoriam to a pro wrestler. This one's a little bit hurtful because, like, I although I would want Terry Funk to have lived to be 100, he had 79, almost 80 years. He got to see a 50-year career. He got to see grandchildren. I think he may have had even some great grandchildren. He got to mentor people that were decades into their careers and retired. Every level of fandom got to experience what Terry Funk was, and vice versa. Bray Wyatt's 36 years old. He this Terry Funk passing away was sad, and we mourned him rightfully. This is tragic. This is a life cut short. And throughout my entire 40-year fandom of wrestling, wrestlers have died in so many different various ways. Many of them died because of painkillers, steroids, things like that. This is none of that. This was an illness. This was an illness that was exacerbated by COVID that affected his respiratory system that apparently he had been dealing with prior to this, and that's what kept him out so long, and that was life-threatening, and this happens. Last I had heard from Bray Wyatt, he was on his way back, and he was going to be back in September. And, to get hit with this alert earlier this afternoon that this was happening, this was actually shocking. This was shocking. So, and I got people like, first Terry Funk, now Bray Wyatt. I wonder who's going to be the third one. Knock that shit off. This whole people die in threes thing is absolute horseshit. Guess what? Thousands of people die every day. We just don't know who the hell they are. And even celebrities die in more than threes. We just don't, if they're not in our particular fandom, a lot of times we don't know who they are. But a lot of people who watch this show know I'm a huge into wrestling. And, I had people filling up my inbox today, texting me, before it even hit the news in most cases. So there does not need to be a third. 2 this week is plenty. And from all accounts, Bray Wyatt was a class act. Second generation. I grew up watching his father and his uncle. Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda were two of the absolute true professionals, in wrestling. Well, for those of you who don't know who Mike Rotunda is, Google IRS, Irwin R. Shyster, and $1 Million Man. Multiple-time tag team champion. He's a WWE scout, WWF scout. Mike Rotunda was a member of the Varsity Club. He teamed up with Steve Williams, Dr. Death Steve Williams, in one of the greatest feuds in the late 80s, early 90s, when they were one of the few people that could take on the Road Warriors power for power. So, I grew up with the Wyndham, and he's named after, his uncle, Barry Windham, because Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda are brothers-in-law. And I say this. Remember how I made it a point to either include or end every one of these streams, reminding us just how fortunate we are sometimes just to be here in decent health. Not even great health, decent health. We prioritize a lot of stuff. We do a lot of goofball stuff on the internet. We do a lot of going after people and putting a lot of stuff in. But you know what? Just if you're sitting here watching this right now and you're still hearing the sound of my voice, you are fortunate to be in enough good health to not be memorialized at 36 years old. You think a million Americans, dying during COVID would have reinforced that, but you need to be reminded on a daily basis. If you're still in the game, whatever it is you're going through can get fixed. But once again, Wyndham Rotunda, a.k.a. Bray Wyatt, 36 years old. I mean, in the prime of his career before he got ill. Gone at age 36. And I just can't imagine what that family is going through right now. That is a wrestling family, but just on a human level. I saw places that he didn't even wrestle memorializing him. That's the kind of impact guys like this have. My Instagram feed, I mean, everybody knew who this guy was, and everybody had a story to say, And if you look at the Wyatt family, I mean, you are now down to Luke Rollins. And because Brody, he died at 40. So yeah, this sucks. It sucks at a human level, no matter what. But if you've been around, you watched the professional wrestling game, you lost so many people long before they should have gone, and a lot of it had to do with other stuff. This was a health issue. This was not natural causes, but exaggerated causes. There was no, as far as we know, there was no drugs, no anything involved. So, rest in peace, Wyndham Rotunda. Gone way too soon. Way too soon. All right. It makes the other thing in the thumbnail seem petty, but it is news, and I'll bring it up. Damn it! I knew this was going to happen. I felt it in my bones because at the same time I kept saying that this strike was going to last anywhere from 6 to 9 months from the point we were talking about a few weeks back. I fully understood that Dune Part 2 was going to get wrapped up in the bullshit, and now it's official. March 15th, 2024 is the new release date for Dune Part 2. So, all right, I'm going to go through the chat and try to bring up the morale, the mood here. Ghosty Visitor, hey, William, what is the new date for Dune Part 2? They are still showing the preview for Dune Part 2 in theaters. They did for me. Yeah, because I guess even though the unofficial decision had been out there for a while, the actual official one was made today, I guess. Yeah, Dune Part 2 moves to 2024. Let me go ahead and bring this up real quick. Hold on. I'll go ahead and bring up the article. Let me say hi to everybody because, once I start getting behind in the chat, it's the point of no return. How you doing, Aaron? What's going on, Daniel? Let me go ahead and bring up my Streamlabs. So if anybody donates. Oh, by the way, I didn't put the donation link up because I was too busy making a very, very, somber thumbnail. So I forgot all about that. But I'll put that up. Let's see. Hold on. Yeah, because I was debating on whether I was going to stream tonight because I streamed last night. But like I said, given what my content is about, it really needs to be talked about. So here's the donation link if you want to, whatever helps. I mean, $2, $3 doesn't matter. It'll either go into the Frappuccino front or it's going to go into a lot of the stuff that I'm doing with the Sci-Fi Center's YouTube page. I am thinking about it. If somebody's just signed up. Who do we have? Thank you, Kevin Sweet, for following. And Johan, I hope I am not destroying your name. Johan Kokidi. If I'm pronouncing that right, let me know. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, please let me know phonetically how to pronounce it. But thank you guys for subscribing. All right, so that's in the thing. Yeah, it does sound like Testament. It's enough Testament not to get me a copyright ban. So, yes, rest in peace to the Fiend, man. How you doing, Al Lester? Indeed. Bray Wyatt is a professional wrestler. He was a second-generation professional wrestler. He was known as a Fiend. He was if you are into wrestling, I don't expect everyone to know, but if you are watching professional wrestling at any level, you kind of knew who he was. So if you weren't watching professional wrestling, I don't expect you to know, but he was a second-generation wrestler. Very immensely for the length of his career, for the length of time he'd been at the top level, he was an immensely popular wrestler. And he passed away at the age of 36 today. Stopped watching WWE years ago, but I knew of Wyatt and the Fiend personality. But damn, he was my age. That's insane. Yeah. RJ, hey, William, the news about Bray Wyatt left me stunned and heartbroken. Can't believe what I read today. 36 is too young. He left behind many kids, too, and just a baby with his wife, JoJo. Yeah, I mean, he just had a baby. I mean, this is. I can't even every time I think about it on the shock from a fan level, but then I think about it about on a family level. What's Mike Rotunda, his father, going through right now? What's Barry Windham, his uncle, going right now? What's Kendall Windham, his uncle? All the Windham families. I mean, this is a family that is several generations of wrestlers right now. So I know who these people are. I don't know them personally, obviously, but I'm thinking of all of them right now at what they're going through right now, and it just sucks. What's even worse about Bray thing is that he was cleared to wrestle extremely finally. Yeah. This is what I've been hearing. COVID and was ready to come back. Then a heart attack came out of nowhere. Yeah. And here's the thing about COVID, guys. If you have gone through it and you had an extensive bout, the doctors always tell you, and I know people personally they call you long haulers. You survived COVID, but it has done damage to your respiratory system, your pulmonary system. So you have to keep an eye on that. And apparently, the bout of COVID that he went through did more damage to his pulmonary system than anybody understood, and even he didn't know. Because, like I said, he was slated to come back in September. He was slated to come back next month. But COVID, the long haulers are the people who are going to have to be dealing with these issues for the rest of their lives. And apparently, here you go, Yeah. I've been hearing about another strain of COVID is on the way, and it's here already. My sister got it. So, yeah. The pay-per-view Bray Wyatt did with The Undertaker was really outstanding, especially considering it was done with no audience. Yeah, and then what's the one with the last time were they in the ring together where he tipped his hat to him? That was kind of cool. Way too early. Health is wealth, more than any amount of money is worth. And the guy who owns the building at the Sci-Fi Center, his name is Ron McMenemy, and he would always ask me how I was doing. And I would be having a semi-shitty day or whatever, and I would say, and I'd let him know, hey, you know what, I'm doing all right, trying to make it through. And I would always, and he'd always say, at least you have your health. As long as you have your health, you have everything. And he passed away. So that's not a joke. And it sucks that it takes people dying at very young ages to remind us that, yeah, maybe some of the stuff that we beat each other up over is not as serious as it seems sometimes. So I may have criticized the booking of Bray Wyatt throughout his WWE career and how WWE never know how to utilize a guy, but nobody didn't know he was a very creative genius. And I think he was on his way. I think he was on his way before he got ill. And I think because they had plans, WrestleMania plans for him and everything else. Because remember, he missed WrestleMania. He was supposed to be there. And remember that lights out match and stuff that they had with LA Knight and all that. That was he was on his way back. So yeah, it was a shock, man. The Fiend was a phenomenal character. Truly made a huge impact when he launched, despite how bad they messed him up. You can clearly see Bray give the character. Yeah, and I liked his original character when he you could tell with the impact he made just by being brand new in WWE when everybody had their phones on and his lights would go out and he would come through with that lamp. Everybody loved that shit, dude. How you doing, Spider-Man? Now I gotta wait till 2024 to watch Dune 1, my first time with Dune 2. Now you need to be watching Dune 2 or Dune 1 now. I don't know why you waited so long. Yeah, so let's bring up this bullshit. Oh, like I said, not the worst news in the world today, but it's just something that just annoys the crap out of me. Okay, here we go. Dune Part 2 moves to 2024. Latest big picture shift doing strike. Aquaman 2, who cares? Wonka, who cares? Color Purple, stick to 2023. The good thing is it tells me that they want to promote Dune right. That doesn't say much for the other movies that they're saying, you know what, you guys go ahead. You guys go ahead and walk the plank. All right, and what was to be expected, Legendary Entertainment and Warner Brothers' anticipated sequel, Dune Part 2 from Denis Villeneuve, is moving off its November 3rd theatrical release to March 15, 2024. Due to the ongoing SAG-AFTRA strike, the sequel based on the Frank Herbert novel also will play in IMAX at its new date. Don't be surprised if Dune Part 2 fires off either at the Berlin Film Festival or at South by Southwest in late winter, early spring. Meanwhile, despite the rumors out there about Warner Brothers further shaking up its December release calendar, due to the strike, the studio's current holiday tentpoles, Wonka, and DC's Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom, December 20th, and The Color Purple, December 25th, will stick to their dates, even if the SAG-AFTRA strike still is lingering. Suspicions abounded that there wasn't a trailer this summer for James Wan's Aquaman 2, tagged the theatrical release as Warner's Barbie. Warner's has heard from existence loud and clear that it needs these movies like the 2020, after the 2021-2020 COVID closure theater circuits. We'll be working aggressively with Burbank a lot, promoting these pics on their social media channels and by loyalty club members. Jeez. And to me, this sucks because if we're going to have an Academy Awards season this year, so say, I was looking for Dune to compete, and that's why it was going to be released in November, because that's, the only other time that you do a release like that is in December, because the year ends and they want those movies fresh in the minds of the Oscar voters. But, now it's up to Oppenheimer and Barbie, I guess. Daniel Martin has tipped Frappuccino Friend activated. Thank you. And it's going to be cool because when you guys do that, I'm going to work with Streamlabs to have like a little Frappuccino thing pop up. I can get, like I said, I'm working on it right now. I'm looking at my Streamlabs setup right now, but I have not I haven't completely feel comfortable with integrating it into what we're doing, because we're going to say goodbye to StreamYard here pretty soon. So that, StreamYard has been cool, but it has limitations. It's good for my first year, but now I'm not the Cro-Magnon that I was, when I first started this. I am a bit smarter, and I want a little bit more out of my presentation. So you can hear it in the background, but it'll soon, the whole Streamlabs setup will be how the show is run. So I'll have all kinds of little animations and GIFs and stuff popping up. So keep an eye out for that. If I get the balls, I might do it this Saturday during the overnight show. By the way, which is exclusively on the Sci-Fi Center's YouTube page, or you can watch it via the sci-fi-center.com, because I stream live from my website as well. So that will be exclusively on our outlets. But yeah, Dune 2 getting moved over again. This is but like I said, you look at the two pieces of news that I have. One puts the other in perspective. I am not happy that Dune is moving. But if that had been the only news I got today, my day would have been a hell of a lot better than it being accompanied with a 36-year-old man with a lot of his life ahead of him, tragically passing away. So there you go. All right, the rest of it is we've been on air for 23 minutes. It's the Midnight Express. So the rest of the evening is going to be your guys' questions. So where the hell am I? All right, I got COVID only once before in September 2021, and I am scared of the potential health issues I may have in the future. Vaccinated. Yeah, just make sure you're going to your physician and checking up. I mean, depending on how bad it hit you. Apparently, he had a pretty bad spell. I know a girl from my other job who was on a ventilator, and she's going to have to maintain, she's got damage to her for the rest of her life that she's going to have to monitor. So if you went through a pretty bad bout, you may want to get with your physician to make sure that you don't have any lingering effects that you don't know about. Because apparently that was the cause. I read all of them. I read AEWs. Like I said, didn't wrestle for AEW, Impact Wrestling, NWA. And that's the kind of brotherhood professional wrestling is. They all feel it. Wow, 14 million? Holy cow. How many does it have on YouTube? How many? Let's see. I'm curious. I know it. When I left this morning, it had 8 point whatever million. 9.2. That's still pretty good. Dumbest decision ever to delay Dune the next year. They've already spent a ton of money marketing. They had 2 trailers come out and it's about to be on the cover of Empire. Yeah. And I understand not wanting to put it out there without the promotion, but here's what I'm saying. Unless the Oscars are getting canceled, and if that's something that they know, then I understand. Because if you get nominated for an Oscar, if you release it without the promotion this year, I understand that you're taking a risk. But you can also re-release it and keep it in theaters longer, because once you get nominated for an Oscar, all Oscar films get re-released. Even if they get released and they're out of theaters, they go back into theaters. Silence of the Lambs went back into the theaters, and it was released in January of 1991. Like a full 11 months before the nominating process. Once it was nominated again, they put that shit right back in the theaters. Because everybody's like, "Ooh, what's this? Got nominated for an Oscar. Maybe, I need to go see this." So I understand, but I'm like, damn, can't we make an exception here? Jeez. I mean, but like I said, got to roll with the punches. Roll with the punches. Roll with the punches. There are lots of people suffering from long COVID. Thank heavens there are scientists here in Australia researching how to help people who have it. Yeah. The movie I'm looking forward to is Agro. I do not know what that is. I'll have to look that up for us. Dune definitely won't be able to compete. But yeah, if they're basically just letting Oppenheimer dominate the war unless Killers of the Flower Moon are now Napoleon is a sleeper. That's not a big popular Oppenheimer Barbie type movie, but Napoleon, and they have screwed Ridley Scott so many times. He's 85. Fucking give it to him. I need to see Ridley Scott holding the Oscar. He's the only one left. They're never going to give it to Harrison Ford. And I don't think Harrison Ford cares, but as a Ridley Scott fan, this guy has added more into science fiction than anybody during my lifetime. I need to see Ridley Scott hold that statue, damn it. So maybe this is his year. Napoleon, when you look at the trailers, you get that kind of feeling. So watch Barbie like sweep the Academy Awards. That's going to be hilarious if it gets nominated. Yeah, so it's true. Rebel Moon Part 1 is coming out, and no one to continue. Yeah, and it's going to be on Netflix exclusively so far. I got COVID 3 times. First one was 11 days of sweats and chills. Then the second time was like 3 days of illness. The third time was like the afternoon civil. Yeah, it hit you differently depending on what your physiology was. A lot of people got it. We didn't even know we got it because remember when COVID first came around, we didn't have testing, and that was one of the scariest things. You had to wait till the systems came about, and then you started crashing and shit. Now we have testing and all that, and I would know people who were in the peak of health crashing. I knew a guy that was like the fitting picture of health, got it, and within 7 days was gone. So but you couldn't. It was so scary because each person had a different effect on each person differently. I was like, geez. I have not decided musically. Oh, by the way, thanks for reminding me. I need to use my community tab a lot more to ask you guys what kind of covers you want to see for our album cover section. Also, what kind of stories do you want to see me covering in my comic book turning point segment as well? You can leave those in the comments in this stream if you want to, or you can respond to the community thing I put out there when I do that. All right. All right, guys. That's about it. That's all I really had. That's all I really had. Pretty somber outing tonight. The postponement of a movie, but more importantly, the passing of a very young wrestler. Comic book covers. Okay, so you mean the storyline? Oh, by the way, I am going to this weekend. We will premiere cover story with the first issue being Amazing Spider-Man 323. But as far as the turning point storylines, I'm almost 99.9% certain that it's going to be J.O. Barr's The Crow. And it will be the first one that I have done that is not part of the two major ones. It'll be the first non-Marvel or non-DC storyline we cover. But I'm almost certain, and I can probably ink this in, that it's going to be J.O. Barr's The Crow. So unless you guys hit me with a one that knocks me off my out of my boots, that's what we're probably going to do. All right, guys. I'm going to eat the other half of my sandwich. I am working on a replacement or on. I will probably hit back to Star Trek Weekly when Lower Decks happens. I got to decide on that one, but I will be on the air tomorrow night. I just don't know what time. And also, I will be on the air also to let you guys know how you can watch AEW All In with me. I do have a new Patreon page, and we will highlight that and premiere that and send you guys out the link on that on our Saturday overnight show. So, hopefully, the next 24 hours is a lot better than the last 24 hours. And once again, guys, take care of each other. Take care of the people around you. Take care of your physical body and also take care of your mental health. If you're up against it, if you're wandering down a road that it looks like you're not going to come back from, Suicide and Crisis Lifeline 988. It's easy. I tested it out just because I wanted to bring some of the people that run on the air for us on to do an interview with. There are people out there at the end of that line who are going through exactly what you are contemplating right now. They are living, breathing proof that you can come out of the other side. So 988, take care of yourself physically, but as importantly, take care of yourself mentally. And like I said, if I ever forget to put this up, somebody remind me. All right, until then, guys, I will see you tomorrow night with some sort of presentation. But until then, have a wonderful night.